Alright guys, so over here on the JP version of the game, we finally got Oberon returning. I mean, there's a couple of other servants that have also come out, right? Because it's the, road to Lost Belt 7 and, the campaign to help you finish Lost Belt 6 and all that good stuff. So, of course, Castoria also came out. Other servants like that, but the main guy is Oberon coming back, right? That's the main person that everybody's really excited about, because if you've kind of just been paying attention to the JP version of the game, even if you don't play, you know that there's a lot of these now 90 plus nodes that if you don't have Oberon, they can be a little difficult to clear. And I've even gone out of my way to make videos being like, hey, here's how you can clear this node, because it's kind of just that difficult to do, and you can kind of do them with some specific setups, but Oberon is how you want to do it ideally, because as we all know, that guy takes one of your servants and makes them do Super Saiyan 3 levels of damage, right? He just makes them really absurd. So basically, all in all, I just wanted to make a video kind of talking about the banner that's going to be going out right now over on the JP version of the game, and also kind of give a couple of people a little bit of warning. Now, if you don't play the JP version, you can watch. This is just kind of oh, this is stuff that's going to come to the NA version in the future, but it's still going to be 2 years away. Although it is kind of notable because this guy has been gone for a year and a half or something since his last raid up. It's been something really insane like that. So it's kind of a big deal. But let's go ahead and just start diving into it. If you haven't already, make sure to leave a like on the video and you subscribe to the channel for daily FGO content. Also, peep the Twitch, which is linked down in the description down below, where I stream every weekday. But let's get into this. So first and foremost, I think the main thing that everybody was kind of blowing up over was that the first guy that comes back is Muramasa, right? Muramasa being a very, very strong arts AoE saber. He pretty much does everything you could ever want an arts AoE to do. He's got a very strong arts mana burst. He stacks on his NP. Has the 50% battery. My man can just drop some stars and do some pretty decent crits. He's just got a little bit of everything that's pretty good. And the thing that, again, that I really like about him is the fact that he's stacking buffs on his NP, so he's getting stronger as the fight goes on. And in fact, I have gone on record saying that when I first started playing JP was, I believe, when the Muramasa banner dropped. And, I felt so strong that this servant was going to be a big deal that I actually went for NP2, and I would even use him to farm archers and stuff. Right now, couldn't be any super high level archers, but still, even against kind of mid-level archers, the guy could loop. So he's definitely really, really strong. And if you're on JP and you need yourself just a strong AoE in general that's an art servant, this is definitely going to be your guy, because he can definitely do a lot. And as you kind of actually look at the other people that are on raid up, you notice that you get a strong AoE, a strong single target, and then just a strong kind of DPS / support type servant, right? And I think this is all to kind of prime people and maybe try to get a little bit of their Saint Quartz. I believe there was an interview where they said that they're not going to have any new servants for the rest of the year. So if they do a Christmas banner, it's probably just going to bring old people back, which is a little weird, but we'll see if that actually remains to be true. But I think it's priming people for New Year's in particular, because remember, New Year's, we always get a new servant, and they also bring back a bunch of other servants for that sliding rate up where they have other servants that also return. So I believe they're prepping people for that with this insane banner. But if you decide to not go for Muramasa, you also have Melusine. Melusine, another servant that I have historically gone down saying is absolutely bonkers insane, and she is absolutely bonkers insane. I think one of the insane things that she also does is very similar to Muramasa, is that she stacks on her NP as well, but she doesn't stack damage, she stacks NP gain. And the reason that's really insane is that even after her buffs on her skills wear off, she's still going to be firing her NP. It is unironically not uncommon to see her fire 6 NPs in a row. She is absolutely insane. When we talk about long fights in FGO and how, we've kind of moved away from servants that do one big nuclear turn and then heavily fall off when their buffs wear off, to good consistent 3-turn servants that maintain all of their buffs and can just do really solid damage or build up more damage over 3 turns. Melusine is the next step, where it's just screw it, I'm gonna fire my NP 30 times in a row. I'm just gonna keep throwing it at people until they are just obliterated. She's pretty much the epitome of that. But At the same time, all of her buffs are really strong as well. The 30% battery, the decent attack buff, the fact that she, can kind of work with stars as an art servant, and it can transition into an AoE buster servant with a 100% battery makes her really good for stuff like, say, buster farming if you have no other option. She's definitely really insane. Also has Percival on the banner. That's a little more enticing, I imagine, to some people than Red Hair over here because he is a 4-star servant. So if you did miss him, this is basically the reprint of the second Lost Belt 6 banner. But then finally, the real prize is down here. Not only do you have Oberon, but you got story-limited Coup Caster, who's stupid dummy insane now after all of his buffs. I don't know why, they were just like, you know what, Coup Caster 3-star, let's just make him almost as nutty as like the Lancer version of him. Like, let's just make this guy stupid dummy good. And since he's a rate up 3-star, you're almost like guaranteed to get him NP5 if you put just a decent amount of quartz into this banner. But Oberon's literally like the man of the hour when I think it comes to all of these banners up here. Because while these two are absolutely great, me personally, I'm debating if it's going to be Oberon or not. I've been trying to hold out Saint Quartz for New Year's because, who knows who the new servant's going to be and who knows who's going to return. But Oberon is definitely very enticing because basically he does the same thing that a lot of the other just good supports do, right? Like Scotty, Ruler Scotty, Koyanskaya, Waver, Castoria, all of those guys that can give like 50% to one party member, right? He's able to do that and a little bit more. I believe it's 70% cumulatively between all of his skills that he's able to give to somebody. Obviously you have the like little weird mechanic where he gives a little bit of NP and then he takes them back. But the main thing is that he gives them really strong NP damage, which like none of the other supports do. Like Waver is only defense down and attack. Castoria is attack, arts buff, and special damage mod. Koyanskaya is damage mods and buster damage. And then Scotty, the normal one, is quick buff plus, defense down plus technically an attack buff on her NP. And then Ruler Scotty is like mainly going to be giving you the quick buff plus the attack buff. Oberon is giving you that NP damage buff, which is really good in combination with the other supports because they don't give that. And that's a different buff type as opposed to what they're getting. So you get even more damage just off the merit of him giving you a additional buff that they're not offering because different buff types multiply into each other. You guys know the deal. But his third skill, even if you're not taking advantage of like the buster aspect of it, the fact that he just like takes your NP damage and it makes it do 100% more damage is insane. Like, it is one of the most insane things that FGO has ever given anybody, right? And you can use him as your own farmer because he's a pretender. So as long as you're just not fighting people that he's at disadvantage against, he's going to be just fine. So he's really good for certain specific mixed class nodes as long as you're not mixing knight and cavalry class together. But it's also like he is going to allow you to take down a lot of those really difficult nodes where you got to beat like a 1 million enemy. Now, if you don't mind doing like a 4 or 5 turn clear, that's, this probably doesn't matter to you. But if you want to do like good, consistent 3 turn clears and kind of keep yourself just saving time, right, and not like wasting apples and everything like that, he's definitely the guy to go for. And that's why this is kind of a big deal, right? I've been seeing a lot of people kind of freaking out, being like, dude, Oberon finally came back because we were never really sure what the Lost Belt 6 banners were going to look like when this event came back around, the Road to Lost Belt 7, because there's so many limited servants that drop with Lost Belt 6. And so it looks like they just said, okay, Morgan goes to the event, Castoria and Da Vinci Rider are going to be like right before everybody else, then we're going to roll all these guys back out for Lost Belt 6. And I'm actually surprised Muramasa even made it on because he didn't release with Lost Belt 6, he's just a part of Lost Belt 6, right? When you look at some of the other road campaigns, they didn't include other members that should have been in there as well, like Musashi for 5.2. She didn't release with Olympus, but she was a pretty big part of it, but she wasn't there. But I guess they know that Muramasa is insanely popular, so they threw him in there. So it's like not Muramasa, but Oberon over here definitely is kind of worth going for. And if you do want to summon for him on JP, you have a lot of time because you'll notice this is going to be dropping on the 16th over here. Although for us, I think that is actually the 15th, I believe, because we're like a day behind them or something like that on the schedule because of the their time zone. So it's gonna actually be around here. If you're gonna want to like go ahead and hop on this train and kind of hop into JP, or you want to save your Saint Quartz, it would be around here to actually drop it. Now again, New Year's is probably going to be pretty insane. They always drop like a pretty strong servant for New Year's. Not always the most broken because you have like the Koyanskaya that dropped last year. That is definitely really strong, but not as broken as everybody thinks she is, but she's still really good. But then you also have people like Muramasu, who's just like dummy broken, or like Yang, who's like really dummy broken. And so it's like, it's probably at least going to be a decent servant, right? And even if you don't care for whoever they drop, there's going to be like 5 other servants on raid up with them that are all going to be like limited guys that are all generally pretty good as well. So keep that in mind. That's kind of the thing that I'm going to be thinking about until around this time, because Oberon's really good, but what if, I don't know, they drop some insane support that's like Oberon 2.0, and then I'm going to feel like a big dumb idiot. But if they don't drop that, then I'm also going to feel like a dumb idiot for not summoning on this banner. So, you know, just kind of throwing this out there as like a little bit of a guide to be like, hey, this guy's returned on JP. If you want to like get into JP, now is again another really good time, because basically if you start the game, you could summon for Oberon and hopefully get him, and at least have Waver as a free to play, and you could bring like a friend Koyenskaya and kind of Buster farm, I guess. Kind of not really, because you really need the skill cooldown, but you could probably make it work with something, right? If you had like a 50% battery servant, you might be able to string something together. But yeah, I just wanted to make this, and you know, also just ask people in the comments, what are you guys going to be summoning for? Are you going to be summoning for this, or are you going to be holding off for, say, like New Year's or something on JP? Let me know, and I will catch you guys in the next video. Peace, late guys.